Welcome to Yeah Good Chat podcast, brought to you by Great Southern Bank. We'll be opening the door to the lives of your favourite baggers. Just like Great Southern Bank's here to help you open the door to your own home sooner. Well, welcome to a Yeah Good Chat, brought to us by Great Southern Bank. Normally, we're very lucky to have a lucky guest, but I feel like the lucky guest is lucky to be here because we have Kerryn Peterson, who just loves to have a chat with me anyway. But welcome anyway to the Good Chat.
Are you saying I'm lucky or
you're lucky?
Oh, I'm lucky.
You're
to
lucky
be
to
here.
be here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, let's run with that. Thanks,
Yeah.
Goody. It's been a while actually. I feel like yeah, obviously you've been running this podcast for quite a while, so I'm a little disappointed that it's now round 8 and it's taken that long of a time to get an invite. But hey, look, here we are.
Yeah, well, if you're a listener to the podcast, you realise that it's the media that pick it, the media staff pick it. It's not on me at all. Never on me.
It says with Just Good. Are you the host or are you? What?
Apparently, but
Yeah.
I just chat to everyone and anyone. So whoever they want to line up, I'll just take it on board.
Right, get on with
Yeah.
it.
But anyway, Kez, I didn't actually realise you're a 3-time All-Australian. You're longest serving captain of Carlton and 4th in all-time games for Carlton. As a Carlton fan growing up, what does that mean to you to have those kind of accolades?
Oh, I mean, when you put it in a list like that, I think it's, yeah, I'm smirking a little bit because you don't often hear things just like, rattled off on a list. So, yeah, I don't know, to be honest, like I'm a little bit humbled, but at the same time, like there has been some, tremendous players that have come through, this club in both obviously the WN and in the men's program. And I feel like, I'm having my name kind of alongside some of those people I'm not overly comfortable with it because I feel like for the most part, I stand on some giant shoulders that pave the path that I now get to, feel very privileged to walk on. So, I mean, it's a cool thing, but there's a few things I'd like to add to that list before I'm done too.
Yeah. And I know your dad, Tony's a very big Carlton man.
I think everyone knows that now, don't they?
Yeah. You should have seen him pre-game. He even took off his hat to be like, it's Tony. Like, it's Tony too. I was like, hi, Tony. But anyways, he's a big Carlton fan. Has he ever had that conversation with you of what you've achieved and how, like, obviously proud he is of you and everything you've done?
I think there's been moments where, he's sort of like, just stop for a second, just look where you are and look what you're doing. And, how, I guess, proud that both mum and dad are that, they've got to share in the journey, I guess, as well. I got to take them to the John Nichols medal the other night, which that I think will go down as one of Dad's favourite nights. He spent 45 minutes talking with Chris Judd. So thanks, Juddy, for doing that because it's, it's made a 50 however old man very, very happy.
So happy.
I think part the joy that as much as like obviously they get by watching me do what I do, like the joy that I get to see in them, and for them to be on this journey and my sister as well. I think I probably appreciate that more as I get older and probably closer to the end of my career than certainly the beginning. But I think the appreciation, to have them on the journey and to see the joy that it brings them as much as the joy it brings me, I think is probably, the whole piece, I think. Yeah.
And you spoke of your sister and your little nephews, having them for your 50th game run out with you. How was that? Yeah,
that was fun. My sister rang the other night and said, well, when's your next milestone? Like, can we do it again anytime soon? I was like, it doesn't quite work like that.
Just make one up.
Yeah. It's funny because like those kids, so, I think Ollie is 6 and Henry's 4. They've never known a time when I haven't played football, which like that's a weird thing to kind of think because for such a long time I identified as a basketballer and obviously so did you. So, for them to only know me as a footy player and for them to only know that, their auntie, gets to run around and play at the highest level and for something that, for such a long period of time didn't exist, the opportunities weren't there. The next generation won't know anything different. And that to me is really cool. Like he rings me all the time. He's so excited. He gets to trade his footy cards at school and, he doesn't care that it's you know, the boys or the girls or, you know, whatever it is, he just gets to see them as footy cards. So, yeah, it's nice to have them part of the journey as well.
Does he just want to collect as many Kerryn cards as possible?
Well, yeah. So Dad obviously had one that was sitting on his computer screen or something at home, and I think Ollie went in and nicked it. And, Dad wasn't impressed, but, you know, that's pretty cool. Like he sees that and, he wants to be part of it.
That.
Yeah.
And the bobbleheads, they came out to play last week.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Did the family get amongst it?
Well, actually, yeah, they did. I think Mum's got more than anyone. But there was a video that Carlton put up of the line that was lining up for them, and my mum's like at the back of the line. So
I thought you were about to say she's front and centre.
No, she wasn't quite front and
sleeping all night waiting for it.
No, not quite. But it's a bit of a weird thing looking at like a kind of doll of yourself. Again, that's the sort of like, for what it's worth, I don't get a lot of joy out of seeing that. I kind of have a bit of a laugh and think it's quite funny, but like
I have my own Kerryn bobblehead.
Whatever, whatever. It's whatever. But Mum and Dad think it's awesome. So no,
it's very
have
cool.
Fun.
I know just went into the hard-hitting questions, but we have an icebreaker question brought to us by the Great Southern Bank. I always do this and I'm like, I need to get it in earlier, but I always forget. But anyway, what was the first thing you splurged on?
Oh, I don't think it was anything big. It was probably like CDs or something.
All right,
maybe.
What was your first CD? For those listening that don't know what CDs are.
Geez, we have this conversation a lot. Hey, back in my day.
Just before Spotify, you could actually buy the album on a CD.
We were talking about this the other day. Remember when you used to have to download from LimeWire and then burn it onto a CD?
Yes.
We were talking about that in the ice bath the other day. Most of the kids had no idea what we were talking about.
What kind of things
did
you put on your computer?
I reckon, I don't know if because I wouldn't have bought this CD, but the first CD I remember having was the Spice Girls album.
Yeah.
It probably was given to me for a birthday or Christmas present or something like that, but I don't remember the first one that I bought, but I definitely remember the first album that I had, and it was the Spice Girls.
That's pretty epic. I've actually had a conversation with some of them. They don't know who the Spice Girls are.
I know. Some of the conversations that go on, and I'm going to throw Lulu Beatty straight off the bat under the bus.
Lulu knows Spice Girls though.
Does she? Yeah. Okay.
She
well,
does.
there's some other stuff that she is not across. I mean, I think, who did we have on? It wasn't Cold Chisel. Who was it that Harriet and I played in the ice bath the other day?
Atomic Kitten.
Atomic Kitten did get a good run. It wasn't that, but anyway.
Niels didn't know who that was.
I know. There was over half the squad that wasn't aware of the song that we were playing, or we needed education, I think, for a few.
All right. So if you're splurging on a CD, surely you've gone a bit harder and a bigger purchase that you've splurged on.
Look, I think it probably would have been shoes, like Nikes. I don't know. I would have bought something from America, it was probably a pair of basketball shoes or hoodies. Yeah.
Any sportswear.
That was very much a basketball sort of athletic thing to do. It probably a lot of, what was that website that it was East Bay?
East Bay.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of money on East Bay.
Well, you had to because of the shipping.
I know. And then they obviously canned that website, so that was a bit of a shame.
That was a really heartbreaking moment. When you had to go to Athlete's Foot or whatever to find your Nikes.
Yeah, it was no.
Yeah. There were no basketball shoes in Australia.
No.
Speaking of basketball, do you see yourself as a footballer now or a basketballer still?
No, I think I see myself now as a footballer. Yeah. I've spent enough time in the game and away from basketball. I'm not sure if I went back and tried to play how well that would go for me. So, I think it would be a footballer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you see that change? Because we always hear about our basketball background.
Yeah, everyone loves to hang their hat on that, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was like a moment in time. To be fair, I don't watch a lot of basketball anymore. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're quite, involved in our own kind of little world here and the football world, and that's all consuming sometimes. So I don't get to watch a lot of it anymore, which is a bit of a shame because actually I shouldn't say that. I am watching the WNBA series at the moment. I don't watch a lot of Australian basketball anymore, which is a bit of a shame. But I don't know. I think it's probably been a slow transition, and the deeper that you go into football and the more
invested and immersed you are. That although you were that basketballer, it's kind of not fading away, but it's like that interest is slowly.
It was a long time ago too. Yeah. I've been playing footy Since 2018. So
Shivers.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. It was season 2 when I came in. So there was one year that I went back and played a season in the off season in the winter, but I just feel like I wouldn't be physically capable of doing that now.
Yeah.
So
or you wouldn't be putting your physical capabilities of football at the forefront.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, the training's just incredibly different, and we spend so much time preparing for the footy season, that sort of stuff, that there's for me there's not a lot of time. So I have full admiration for those that are able to do it, but it's not for me anymore.
And how did basketball help you become the footballer you are?
It's a good question. I think probably more so off field than on field. I think just the behaviours of an elite athlete and those sort of things that were ingrained in me from such a young age at basketball, they easily translated across in terms of, needing to have a work ethic, needing to be disciplined with, your diet and your hydration and your sleeping routine and all the things that make you an athlete off the field. But I think probably the biggest thing was just the ability to absorb knowledge and absorb, game plans and game styles and instructions and those sort of things. So, I mean, you would know this as better than anyone, but basketball is very structured in the way that it's, the game's played, and particularly Australian basketball. There's a lot of, X's and O's for a better way to say it. And when I came into footy, it wasn't as structured, but what I did need to learn, I kind of knew how to go about learning, if that makes sense. So, asking the questions, reviewing, following up and those sort of things, that probably set me in good stead. And all the skills of footy I still had to learn, but I think I had a plan in place or a process about how to learn those skills. So
yeah, you knew what you kind of not what you needed to know, but how to go about finding out what you needed to know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think I was quite fortunate as well at the time that I came into footy, whereas, as I said, it was start of season 2. So, a lot of the players that were playing at that time were on a similar journey as what I was. They were very new to the whole AFLW thing. There was quite a lot of players that hadn't played, a lot of football or had a lot of footy experience. So, there was, I guess, a lot of learnings taking place at that time. Whereas, now if I was to try and do, I say this to people all the time, if I tried to do now what I did then, I'm not sure that I would be as, maybe not, I don't want to say as successful, but that transition wouldn't be as easy, I don't think.
Yeah, because now people coming through have that skill base as well. So it's not just learning a game plan, it's learning those skills.
Yeah, and I think probably what set me apart in season 2 may not set me apart, in today's game. So, I mean, who knows? But it's been a fun journey.
It is fun. I love being on this journey with you, Kerryn. So good. Now, speaking of football, we'll continue our football chat and then we'll go into the outside footy chat. But you've experienced a fair bit of injury this year. That old body.
Careful.
Your little fossil. But how did you go with leading from the sidelines? Because you're a tremendous leader and tremendous on the field, but on the sidelines is kind of like a different way of leadership. But maybe, how did you find it?
Incredibly challenging. Up until round 1 of this year, I hadn't missed a game of footy, so I actually hadn't watched our team play football from the minute I got here. I hadn't missed, which is something that I'm incredibly proud of, the fact that I hadn't missed a game up until that point. So it was a new experience, and I'm not a particularly great spectator at the best of times anyway. So to be so invested in what was happening, but in a way have absolutely no impact on the outcome or what was going on, that was an incredibly challenging experience. On top of obviously the frustration of, the injury and those sort of things as well. So it's funny because I took a lot of working with Belinda Clark, obviously our leadership, mentor who's been tremendous for me individually and for us as a collective. But, I took a lot of inspiration from Sam Kerr and obviously the Matildas and the way that, clearly not being inside their camp, so not really seeing, what she was doing on a day-to-day basis, but imagining how she would be feeling in that moment, obviously home World Cup and falling at the last hurdle, a little bit similar to what I did, huge build up into round 1 and falling at the last hurdle is something I'm sure that she, would have felt as well. So I just tried to channel her a little bit, trying as best I can, lead from the bench. I guess in the privileged position that I'm in as captain of this group, you know that you've got 30 sets of eyes that are watching your every move. And whilst that comes with, I guess, some pressure at times, you know that you've got the ability to impact and influence what goes on, and how you show up and how you behave directly impacts what goes on with the rest of the group. So, there was definitely times away from perhaps those 30 sets of eyes that I was like, God, this is so frustrating. But, when I came into the club, you have to switch into gear, and you have to switch into, okay, well, how can I best impact, what happens next, for the next person. So, it certainly wasn't easy, but, obviously the way that the group started the season, with some wins and those sort of things was really cool to kind of sit back and watch. And it kind of allowed me that when I was ready to come back in, just sort of slide in. I didn't feel like I had to come in and
change the world.
Yeah, change the world. I just had to come in and play my role, which, that's a nice feeling to have.
And you mentioned some work with Belinda Clark. What has been the top 3 things you've learned from working with her?
Yeah, that's another good question.
That's why I host this.
Good chats. Good chats with Jez Good, right?
Good questions.
Yeah, without,
good chats.
you sort of put me on the spot, so I'm trying to think without sort of, glossing over, because there's been so much that we've taken away from an individual perspective and from, I guess, as a collective, as part of the leadership group. I think if I think about the collective, we've changed the process and the way that we do things. So there's a lot more, I guess, in a way, role delegation within that leadership group. Obviously, we've got 6 outstanding leaders that are in that group, and each of us have our own strengths. So really harnessing on those strengths, and how we can, we talk about using your weapons as part of the team. Same in leadership, what's your strength? What's your weapon? Let's really
in on that.
Yeah. Let's really, amplify that. So I think that was probably, from a collective perspective, one of the things that we put in really early. I think from an individual perspective, in a way, it's probably just controlling, it's very cliche, but controlling what I can control and understanding what's out of my control. Definitely perhaps as a younger leader, or as a more inexperienced leader than perhaps what I am now, you get really caught up in some of the detail, and it's only because you're trying so hard to...
You want everything to succeed as well.
Yeah. You do feel a lot of pressure around, team success and wanting the group to get to a certain level, and how quickly that happens. You feel directly responsible for that at times, and there's no doubt that becomes overwhelming as well. So, I spent a lot of time early working with Belinda around, okay, well, what is, within my control, what's not, and how to let go of the stuff that's not, or how can I utilize other people around to, take some of that responsibility. And then a little bit similar to the collective is, okay, well, what's your strength? And let's really harness that. And I feel like I've done a disservice to Belinda, because that sounds quite cliche, but there's been so much, that we have done and that we have changed. And some of the connections as well, if I can take a minute to brag, I got the opportunity last week to go to the Australian women's cricket team trainings and meetings and game. And it was just an outstanding experience. Like, there's so much that I took away from that. Completely different sport, but there's so many parallels that we have within our program that they're doing as well. So that was a huge learning opportunity, and very grateful for that opportunity.
What's one learning from bragging about the Oz women's cricket team? What's one learning that you took away, to just give a little insight on a similarity?
Oh yeah, so so many similarities. Obviously, you've got a group of people who are totally committed to the cause, and really trying to get the vehicle that they're all on, working and as fast as they can to the outcome that they're, I guess, striving for. That was really evident when we went in there, and I feel the same about our group as well. Like, when you've got so many like-minded people working, together, and what we're able to achieve, the possibilities are endless. And I saw that similarity. It's funny, you're going to laugh at this, because okay, as well as everyone else in the team that, I sit there and watch the clock all the time, hurry up, we're on time, or we're not on time. And it really agitates me when people are late. But those guys were just so, in a way, relaxed. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but they didn't get caught up in some of the really little detail. They were just, in a way, kind of, easy come, easy go.
Roll with the punches.
A little bit roll with the punches, and that's definitely something that I need to get a little bit better at, because when things don't go,
no way.
quite well. Hey, but the difference is I can recognise it, right?
God, you've come far.
I know. I've learned. Yeah. Again, I don't want to do like a disservice to them by sort of saying that, but just to be part of their review, they had a series against the West Indies, and to watch the way that they reviewed, there's so much accountability on each of the individuals within that program to get their role done within, the team sort of structure. So, it's something that I think our group can aspire to is, having that accountability as an individual athlete, like they take it to the next level. So there was a lot to learn from that as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Speaking of cricket, you love a lot of sport outside of footy. What are your other hobbies and interests and things just, outside of the football world?
I do watch a lot of sport. I loved the ride that the Matildas took the whole country on. That was something I don't think I'll ever forget. I spent a lot of time back up in Bendigo, like just hanging out with family and friends. I moved away from Bendigo when I was 15. So any sort of chance I get to go back there and, just even hang out at mum and dad's house, something that Joel and I both do quite regularly. Yeah, we've got our 2 puppy dogs that are the loves of our lives. So we spend a lot of time with them.
All right, tell me about your puppies.
No, everyone knows already.
Come on.
I've got 2 beautiful border collies. Yes. Daisy is 4 and she's our perfect princess. She wouldn't put a toe out of line. And Billy
is a load of trash.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. She's an angel. And Billy, on the other hand, he is nearly 7 months old. He's a black and white border collie. He's not so perfect. He gets up to a bit of trouble, but he's beautiful.
Yeah. How's the new lawn looking?
No, not bad. Not bad. Yeah. Bill had one issue with a hole, but all in all, it
pretty successful.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. Yeah,
because I saw Joel's fencing job and it was atrocious.
Oh, that's a bit harsh. He tried his best.
Okay.
I feel like I can't have any criticism of his fence because I did not help one little bit.
That is so fair.
If you're listening, Joel, you did a great job. Thank you.
Joel, it looked horrible.
Well, actually, I've got a video up on my Instagram where Billy just he was on the other side of it and he shouldn't have been. So, clearly it didn't
serve its purpose.
Well, at times. But hey, who's perfect, right?
Yeah, me.
Daisy.
No, I want to disagree. Is Billy as chaotic as Daisy is while watching sport?
No, not at all. But she doesn't knock anything over. Like, she's harmless.
Okay, but it is a lot. Trying to watch the tennis in the summer at your place and Daisy is running from side to side of...
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
She learnt it when we used to live, before we built our house that we're in now, we used to live opposite a tennis court, and so there was a dog park literally just out like on the other side of the fence. So we'd spend a lot of time there throwing the ball for her. And she would watch the tennis on the other side of the fence and watch them hitting the ball back and forward. And ever since that moment... when the tennis or golf or basketball or football, whatever
Cricket.
it is, it is, the cricket's actually probably the worst because you can see the ball the whole time.
Yeah.
She just follows the ball on the TV. It's quite remarkable and annoying.
She's quite the athlete.
She is. No, Billy's got no interest.
Billy's like, I've seen Daisy just go nuts.
Yeah. He tries to bite her every time he runs past. Anyway, our house is a zoo.
Yeah. Well, a zoo with 2 animals.
Yeah, it's a zoo.
Now, outside of hobbies and things like that, do you get up to work outside of football? You're studying?
Option D, all the above. I'm studying my MBA at the moment, my Master's in Business. A little bit of a sort of, change of direction for me. I'm not really at this point sure where it's going to lead. I've got a few ideas, but I'm obviously a physio. I did my physio. I've been out of uni from a physio perspective for around about 7 years. So still doing half a day a week of physio work just to sort of keep my hand in it. It's a little bit challenging, obviously, trying to juggle the footy commitments and some uni and all that sort of stuff as well. But I do enjoy getting getting away from kind of the rest of it and just going and being a regular kind of person for half a day with their job. Yeah, obviously doing some work with Carlton College of Sport as well from a coaching perspective, but from a business development perspective as well. So a few balls in the air.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you have any career aspirations as to what you're wanting it all to lead to?
I think I know what I don't want it to lead to. Like
the list could be
coaching.
Oh, okay. I was like, that list could be very long.
Yeah, well, it is long. I really like the business side of sport, which hence the sort of change in direction with uni. And it's probably only been maybe in the last probably 2 or 3 years that I've really considered I guess a career in the administrative side of sport, and different experiences have led to that kind of conclusion. But being part of the Players Association board, going through the negotiations, the last 2 negotiations of the CBA, has really opened my eyes to a world that I probably knew existed but just paid absolutely no attention to. Obviously, being part of Carlton AFLW and seeing the opportunities that are the doors that are opening for particularly, females in sport and all sorts of things that previously wouldn't have, all those opportunities may not have been there. So yeah, I've got a few kind of ideas, but I'm not exactly, sure where that fits. But yeah, I don't think coaching's for me. So I might cross that one off the list.
Really? Why?
I don't know. They're strange people coaches, I reckon. Like Bucky's a good example of that. But yeah,
have to be a certain type of person.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And like all the power to them. But I just, I don't know. I just don't think it's for me.
No. On Friday, Sunday. Gosh, my days are all mixed up. Yeah, okay. On Sunday, wasn't the result that we were after. What are our takeaways from Sunday versus the Pies?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, a pretty disappointing kind of performance from our perspective. I think that the reason it's so disappointing is that we've had some really good performances up until that point. So it was one of those little bit out of the box that, obviously we spent a fair bit of time reviewing this week and can't quite put our finger on, maybe what was happened? The catalyst for that. So, disappointing result. The positives that I take away from it are that, we kept a really, really good team to a goal in the last 3 quarters. So obviously Collingwood were, the pressure that they applied in that first quarter was unlike what I've seen in AFLW before, which, shows a couple of things. Obviously the growth in the league, obviously they're a great team themselves. They're on a bit of a run at the moment. And I guess the level that we need to get to, we've talked a lot about the journey that we're on, and it's not unexpected to think that we're going to have some ups and downs throughout that. So I think the most important thing for us for this coming week is the response that we give. And I'm really confident that the players that we've got on our list, no one was happy after the game, but the way that we reviewed it and the way that the players have shown up to training this week, and the attitude and application and things that they've been able to to bounce back to has been really impressive. So we definitely do take some positives away, but I think just the learning of the level that we need to get to was pretty evident.
And you speak about our journey that we're on, but what have you found has been, one of the biggest changes in your eyes for this season?
Look, I could answer that a couple of different ways. Obviously, the logistics of the program, probably from the outside looking in, would be the biggest change that we've made. So I know Bucky laughs at this every time that someone mentions it, but having day trainings has completely changed the game for us. The ability to have that work-life balance. When you're at footy, you're at footy. You don't have to kind of think about, what that means once you leave here and all that sort of stuff. That can't be understated how big of a change that's been. But I think what people from the outside looking in probably don't appreciate or may not have an appreciation of is just the change in attitude. So on the back of the review, the number one thing that I took out of that, as apart from the logistical changes, has been the desire for a high performance environment. And that's not to say that we weren't striving for that previously, because being in AFLW, you're at the highest level. It's just finding what's going to separate us from the other teams. And that come with staffing changes. It come with, resource allocation. It came with an attitude change from the players. And I do mean that, in a really respectful way, that that's not what we, it's not that we weren't chasing that previously. It just probably wasn't at the level that it needed to be. So that's probably, from my perspective, been the biggest shift in terms of attitude and application, and the education that we're providing for our players is just gone to the next level. It's very much mirrored what the men's program went through and some of the changes and things that they were able to make and the success that they had. In a way, we're sort of following a similar path, and being able to leverage from some of their lessons has perhaps accelerated our growth, in the last probably 6 months. So it's a pretty exciting journey to be on at the moment. But as I said, that with that comes some ebbs and flows in form. And, we saw that on the weekend and everyone's disappointed about that. But, we've got an opportunity to, bounce back really, really quickly and really well this weekend against the Giants.
Yeah. And speaking of the Giants, we're off to Sydney. How do you find a road trip? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you have certain things that you need to bring with you on the plane? Like, talk me through a road trip with Kez.
No, I actually enjoy road trips. I enjoy getting away, with the group, and there's definitely certain people that you avoid. Because they get in your bubble, and you just sometimes need to chill out a little bit.
They just pop that bubble.
They do just pop the bubble. No, in all seriousness, I do really enjoy getting away. I think, the opportunity for us to galvanise as a group, it's a different experience when you're on the road as opposed to just a home game where you drive to the ground and you sort of meet up 2 hours before. So I enjoy the conversations around the brekkie table and the late night cups of tea and getting to know people, or just hanging out with the ones that you really enjoy their company. So coffee with friends. But also, I enjoy traveling around our country. It's going to Sydney, a pretty cool thing to do as your day job, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's really cool. And I often say to people, I've got family around Australia, and it keeps you connected because you're flying interstate, and more often than not, you don't fly to Perth or you don't fly to Sydney, but then they're coming in to see the game and you get to hang out afterwards and things like that. So it's a lovely way to stay connected with friends and family that may have moved interstate or things like that as well. You don't take your own pillow, you don't take your own snacks, you just go with the flow with it all, control what you can control, Kez.
Yeah, so this is probably where I've changed, I reckon.
Really?
I just think, I don't know, maybe earlier versions of Kerryn would have, been very regimented with what they did. But
no way.
Yeah, funny. I don't know if you knew that. I'm pretty relaxed now. Come on,
Kerryn, you are not relaxed.
No, I am. I don't take my own pillow. I don't pack my own snacks.
Yeah, but if I looked Kerryn up in the dictionary, it would not have relaxed there.
It depends. It depends on when you get me. Okay. I think at the lounge before the flight, I'm not really wound up. But I guess every athlete, I've got my routine that I go to, before the game and those sort of things. So
yeah,
maybe not so relaxed at that point. Although, again, if you compared me to 5 years ago, it's probably a different story.
Pre-game routine?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Okay. There's nothing strange or superstitious or anything like that. I like to be one of the first treated. I don't, want to have my taping done early and
ready to go.
Yeah, just have that time where I'm, if I feel rushed or pushed for time, that's when you won't see me very relaxed. But, if I've got, the time to just go and check out the Oval and have a bit of a kick and get myself kind of in that headspace, then I'm pretty happy.
Days.
Yeah.
Playing Giants, what are our focuses for round 8?
Yeah, look, we haven't obviously looked at the Giants as far as an opposition kind of report yet. So I think the message will be pretty clear for us this week, and that's just to get
back to us, really.
Yeah, get back to what we do well, which is what we've done really well for the first 6 rounds, and we fell away from that over the weekend. So against Collingwood, it's good. It's just going to be getting back to our brand of football. Really good source pressure. The ability for us to keep it in the front half, and apply enough pressure to create turnover and those sort of things. So I don't think there's going to be any huge change to what we're trying to do. It's just keeping that consistency and seeing more of us, our brand of football out there.
That sounds great to me.
We haven't stitched Goody up at all though.
That's because I'm very good at asking questions.
Yeah, is there an opportunity I don't know, might be the end of the season or something like that to come back and interview you? Because you never get to be on this side of the table.
No, but I think I prefer it that way. But anyway, on that note, thank you so much for joining me on A Good Chat, brought to us by the Great Southern Bank, Kerryn Peterson.
Thanks.
Woo-hoo.
Thanks for having me.
Shout out to Great Southern Bank, our co-major partner, for sponsoring this podcast.